Helios Airways Flight 522 was a scheduled passenger flight for Larnaca, Cyprus to Prague, Czech Republic with a stopover to Athens, Greece that crashed on 14 August 2005, killing all 121 passengers and crew on board. A loss of cabin pressurization incapacitated the crew, leaving the aircraft flying on autopilot until it ran out of fuel and crashed near Grammatico, Greece. It was the deadliest aviation accident in Greece history. The aircraft involved in this accident, initially registered DADBQ, was first flown on 29 December 1997 and operated by GBA from 1998. It was leased by Helios Airways on 16 April 2004 when it was re-registered 5BDBY with nickname Olympia. Besides the downed aircraft, the Helios fleet also included two leased Boeing 737-800s and an Airbus A319-100, which were delivered on 14 May 2005. The plane had arrived at Larnaca International Airport at 1:25 local time on the day of the accident. It was scheduled to leave Larnaca at 9 a.m. and fly to Prague International Airport with a stop off at Athens International Airport, where it was due to arrive at 10:45. The captain of the flight was Hans-Jürgen Martin, a 59-year-old German contract pilot hired by Helios for Holidays Night, who had been flying for 35 years previously for Interflug before 1919 and had occurred a total of 16,900 flight hours, including 5,400 hours of the Boeing 737.
Hi, I'm Alia. So for my part, I will explain in detail information about the accident and the passenger on board. An investigation conducted by the Greek Transport Ministry blamed that the crash of Helios Airways Flight 522 based on three direct factors, which is the pilot failing to realize that the cabin pressurization was set to manual, non-identification by the crew of the true nature of the problem, and the last one, depletion of the fuel and the impact of the aircraft with the ground. The investigation revealed that the Boeing 737-300 that flew as Helios Airways Flight 522 on August 14, 2005 had undergone. During the inspection, the engineer, in order to conduct a test on board, turned the plane cabin pressure knob to man or manual. The knob remained in manual mode when the plane was handed over for the August 14 flight. The pilot, however, failed to turn the knob back to auto as they should. The investigator found that both pilot and his co-pilot, as well as nearly everybody on board, fell unconscious due to hypoxia. The aircraft ran out of fuel and the engine turned off one by one and leading to the crash. So the aircraft was carrying 115 passengers and 6 of crew. The passenger included 97 due to disembark at Athens. The body of 118 passengers were recovered. So the passenger list include 93 adults and 22 children. 111 passengers were national either Hellenic Republic or Republic of Cyprus. The remaining 4 passengers were national of Australia. The captain was a national of Germany. The first officer and 4 cabin crew members were national of Republic of the Cyprus. So crash on Helios Airways Flight 522, killing all 121 passengers and crew on board. So that's all for the information about the accident and the passenger on board. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Shazwani. So for my part, I will explain the impact of the incident. So, as we all know, accident of an aircraft can lead to human injury or even loss of human life. It influenced the reputation and the economy of air transportation industry. So, what will affect this airline to the aviation industry after this incident happened is consumer will feel unsafe using this air transportation. Moreover, this can also affect the finances and it will cause losses to the airline because when the plane crashes, they have to pay compensation to the family victim of the tragedy. And higher premium in turn are difficult to trace in the income statement. However, insurance payments to such firms can offset many losses. Anyways, the financial impact of the aviation disaster is only concentrated on airline, and the industry as a whole is not affected. And disaster area destroyed by plane crashes will affect the global impact only. Therefore, a huge loss occur if an aircraft destroyed, damaged, beyond repair, lost, or become completely inaccessible, and this will result in global impact as well. Last but not least, when an accident happens, the media usually exaggerate the consequences, and the people may worry about the airline safety management and resulting loss of passengers and social panic as well. That's all the information about the impact of the incident. Thank you.
On August 14, 2005, Helios Airways Flight 522 was scheduled to fly from Prague to Athens. The aircraft nickname was Olympia. The aircraft was about 7 years and 9 months old. The captain was Jurgen Hans, and the first officer was Pampos. The flight was scheduled to leave at 9 a.m. local time. It takes about 90 minutes to reach Athens. The plane gains momentum as it on the way to fly to its cruising altitude, which is 34,000 feet. But at about 10,000 feet, the alarm in the cabin crew goes on, which puzzles the captain and the first officer. It was misunderstood as takeoff configuration warning that was supposed to ring the ground, but actually it was a warning for the pilots not to climb further. They contacted the ATC, who then transferred the call to the ground engineer. The engineer asked a question: was the pressurization was set to auto? But then the pilot ignores it and asks the engineer, where is the circuit breaker? This communication was very brief. And that was the last communication between the pilots and the ATC. By this time, oxygen mask was deployed in the passenger cabin, but the crew was unaware of it. Meanwhile, two fighter flights were trying to make visual contact with the 522 once the ATC informed that the nearby airbase that the pilot do not respond. The pilot and the fighter noticed the captain's seat was empty, and the first officer is like a solid rock without any movement. The fighter plane noticed an unidentified passenger was trying to take the control of the plane. The pilot in jet tried to draw attention of this plane, but then the plane was run out of fuel. It crashes into an isolated places about 50 kilometers from Athens airport, where the aircraft was brought back.
For the conclusion, from the incident of Helios Airways Flight 522, we learned that everyone's roles and responsibility is very important. One minor mistake can cause into a drastic domino effect. This is the reason why everyone should follow all the regulations to minimize human error, and breaching of regulations cannot be tolerated. Hence, we can see that the organizations are making their effort to make the regulations an easier guide to read. If all the organizations can keep safety as their top priority, this will allow aviation industry to be more efficient and safe. Furthermore, there was also adjustment being made to the Federal Aviation Administration, which is known as FAA, Manual and Warning Alarm. So they included that for normal operations, the pressurization mode setting should be in auto mode prior to takeoff. In addition, the reason behind the warning alarm should be different in air and on the ground. If the alarm goes off on air, that means the aircraft is at 10,000 feet. Otherwise, it will mean that the aircraft is having a configuration issue when on the ground. FAA introduced all these changes and implementations to show us that they are putting all their effort to keep the aviation industry safe. Last but not least, safety is very important in aviation industry, and safety is the top priority in aviation. Safety measures must be taken at all times and also updating whenever an aircraft accident happens. And this is to prevent the history from keep repeating itself. For the future aviator, we must learn aviation safety and security because it is very important in aviation industry. That's all from me. Thank you.